Every sound in the track you just heard came from the Pittsburgh Modular Lifeforms SV1. More on the music in a little bit. Today we're looking at this synthesizer. Thank you to Pittsburgh Modular for sending this to me. This might be a little bit different than normal because what I really like to do in my videos is explore what's unique and interesting and special about the music gear that I'm looking at. And in today's case, this synthesizer is just really normal. The thing that is special about it is just that it's really good at being a normal, good thing. I've actually had it for a year and I've been struggling about what to say about it because I focus so much on the things that are weird. So what we're dealing with here is just a really high quality execution of the standard subtractive analog synthesizer voice as well as some common synth utilities. If you aren't familiar with subtractive synthesis, basically it's about starting with a really rich waveform and then subtracting from it, filtering away certain frequencies, and changing the volume over time to sculpt the sound that you want. So the way it breaks down is you have two oscillators right here. Those are gonna make your sound. There's an analog low frequency oscillator here that you can send to whatever you wanna modulate. This section is a mixer for either audio or modulation signals. Got the filter. The envelope here that shapes signals over time. This little section at the bottom is a few handy tools like a 1 octave below sub, a 2 octave below sub, a noise output, and then a sample and hold section. And then over on the right is the very boring but very necessary stuff, an amplifier, a splitter to make copies of signals, and then the output. And they include a headphone output, which is thank you. And then this left section is sort of like a little toolbox, so it's got all the MIDI connectivity stuff, 2 additional digital LFOs that you can tap tempo in, and an arpeggiator with some different modes. One thing I really like about the SV1 is that everything is very clearly labeled with the standard terminology. There seems to be a trend in hardware to just make a fun and creative name for a really normal thing. I guess it could be a marketing move. Sometimes you'll see a synth and it'll have like a quartz traversal unit. And you're like, oh, do I need a quartz traversal unit? So you go dig up the online manual, read, find out, oh, that's just what they call an envelope, a thing that literally every synthesizer has. Thanks, really helpful. Additionally, patch points that are inputs are highlighted, and then there are also some things that are in brackets, and that means that it's a normaled connection. The SV1 is a semi-modular synth, so these normaled or normalized connections mean that they're already there internally, you don't need to patch them with a cable. Using this unit without any patch cables, you just get a great standard subtractive voice. If you patch something to one of the normaled connections, it replaces that internal connection with whatever new one you've put there. So in this case, I've replaced the sine wave here on the first channel of the mixer with the blade waveform. For me, it's a 10 out of 10 on sound quality. It's a 10 out of 10 on build quality. This is a metal casing. The knobs are super smooth and just satisfying to use. And I know it's like an extra nerdy thing to just get excited about the raw analog waveforms, but whatever components they've chosen to use, just give it a really great character. For cons, there's only really 2 things that stand out to me. The first is that there's only 1 amplifier. I don't know where they could fit another one or what they might take away to make one fit, but I do feel like having more than 1 VCA would have been great. And the second thing is you do need something outside of it to either sequence it or play it. Every time I play it, I just want to say that it's juicy, and I kind of hate that word, but it's kind of what it is.
Juicy.
Anyway, you can kind of get a little weird with it and trigger it on its own. I always try to have some finished music in every video, and I've been using the synth a lot for like these fat, funky bass lines. This funk-inspired album is nowhere near done, so then I got thinking, well, maybe I'll use the life forms as the only sound source for a track. And then completely by coincidence, just in one of the synthesizer Facebook groups I'm in, I came across this artist. He goes by Riku, and this is just gonna be a huge shout out to him. He's doing all this cool sampling stuff and synthesizer stuff, and one of the things that he did was make a track where every sound came from the Lifeforms SV1. It just sounds so good.